Introduce myself. I am Keisha, and I am the owner of Journey to Greatness. I come to bring you nuggets to help you in your everyday life. So, this week for Thriving Thursdays, what are we going to talk about? We are talking about knowing your limits without limiting yourself. So what does that mean? Knowing your limits, that's almost saying the same thing almost. Actually, it is not. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So it's kind of like, I have kids, right? So my kids know when I say no. Okay, it's a no. But they come and give little things that will convince me to say yes. And so sometimes I bend a little bit and I will say yes, but they know how far to go where I'm like, no, that's not the case. So here's a funny example. My daughter, she's in cheerleading, dance. She takes gymnastics sometimes, but that's not really what she's interested in. So one day she was like, "Mommy, can you do a split?" No. I'm about 40 years old. I'm not getting down and doing no split. Not going to happen. Now, can I train myself to get to that point? Yes, I can train myself. I can, do some yoga and some stretching and stuff, and eventually I could get to that point. So that's that's not limiting myself, but knowing my limits. Right now, I can't do a split. So then the next question she would ask, well, can you do a back walkover or a back handspring? The way that my back is set up, that's not ever happening. I've had a couple of car accidents, a couple of epidurals when I had my kids, just a couple of things that went on. So no, that is knowing my limit. I am not going to ever be able to do a back handspring or a back walkover or any of that stuff. Not at 40. I don't think I could do it at 15, let alone being able to do it at 40. Not going to happen. So in that, we are going to talk about knowing your limits, but not limiting yourself. So another example would be you're at work. Your boss comes up and says, "You know what, Keisha? I have this opportunity that I want you to take. I want you to take this training. It's going to help you to broaden your skills and, prepare for maybe a management position or to get a promotion later on." And so if you say, "No, I'm comfortable in my job," you're limiting the growth that you can have. Now, if your boss comes and says, "I have this opportunity, I think that you would be great for, but it's going to cause you to work weekends. You're probably going to work 60, 70 hours, and it's going to be some traveling that you're going to have to travel once or twice a month." Well, with my schedule and my kids being very busy, that would be outside my limit. Even though it's a promotion and I would want a promotion, that would be outside my limit. I can't do that. My kids are in football, basketball, track, dance, all kinds of stuff. They have something going on every day, and I'm that mom that needs to be at all of their events. I feel like I'm missing something if I'm traveling or have a meeting or doing something when they have a game or a competition going on. So I know that that's outside my limit. Promotion, great, but that opportunity just isn't for me. And so RN Thrive is receiving guidance. So you want the guidance that's around you, your mentors, your boss, your friends, whoever is around you. You want them to be able to guide you in the right way, and they need to know who you are. They need to know your standards and your bottom line and what your goals are. So the first thing that you need to know is what your goal is and what are you trying to achieve in life? Your 6-month goal, your year goal, your 5-year goals, 20 years down the line, where do you see yourself? You have to know those goals, and sometimes it takes somebody coming in, a mentor, coming in to broaden your mind as to the possibilities of things that you may not have ever thought of. Or have you thought about doing this with your business? Have you thought about doing this with your job? And so it triggers the creativity in your mind to know that that's something that I never thought of. Now, then you have to go the extra step and decide, is this crossing my line. So you have to have a line that you are drawing for yourself that says that, no, I can't go past this thing. It might be good for you or be good for somebody else, but that situation or that circumstance is not good for me. And you need to have good mentors. So you need to set a goal. You need to know what your goals are. You need to know what your bottom line is, and you need to have people surrounding you that have your best interests at heart. Not where they want to see you go, not what they want to see accomplished, but have your best interest at heart where they can help guide you, help encourage you, help you get to where you want to be, give you creative ideas to have your mind to start going so you can get to where you want to be and you don't become something that you're not. So when you're limiting yourself, when you're limiting yourself, you're not allowing yourself to go beyond the box that you put yourself in. But when you know your limits, you're not letting somebody else dictate where you should go, what you should do. And that's not something that you want to do. Like, for another example is I have had a lot of business opportunities come my way. People say, oh, we think that you'll be really good at this, because I'm very determined, very hardworking. You just have all the characteristics, and they sell a good picture. I'm like, you know what? I think I can really do this. 3-4 months down the line, I stopped. That wasn't for me. It sounded good, but I never knew my limits. But one thing in trying something out is you will find out what your limits are. Sometimes ahead of times, and then sometimes you might need to try it to see, well, I thought that I couldn't do this, or I thought that it wasn't for me, or that I thought it was for me, and then you get into it and you find out that that may not be what you want to do. A lot of us figure that out when we go to college. We say, oh, I want to go to this school. This is a school that I want to go to, and we get there and we find out it's not really what we thought it was going to be. Or you start taking classes, or you're taking a major, and that goes back to when I was majoring in psychology. And I said, oh, I'm going to be a psychologist and all of this stuff. And so I go to school for psychology, and I get there and I really want to do it. And I start taking the classes. I'm like, this is not for me. I need to go figure something else out. And I went and got the business degree because I do like businesses and managing. And so that's what worked for me. Not to say I didn't like psychology. I just wasn't ready for the work that was coming along with it. And so I moved to something that I was interested in at that time. And so that goes for any area in your life. So another funny thing, I'm out in the dating world. Yes, I'm out here single girl dating. Woo! And what is this? 2019, the worst time to be dating. I think that's the worst time to be dating. It's a madhouse out there. So I can't expect to be out in the dating world and I sit at home all day. You just can't. Those two things don't add up. Somebody's not going to come along selling the vacuum cleaners or something like that, and the white horse and the lights and all of that come on, and whoa, this is the person. That's not going to happen. I have to get out, but I cannot go out with everything. I'm 40. Everything all hanging out like I did when I was in my 20s. I had, we all had some rough times in our 20s, or fun times, I should say, but I have to know what my limits are. I have to know what I want out of a person. I got to know where I want to go. I have to know those things, how far I'm willing to go. And meeting somebody, opening up maybe my horizons, and maybe I'm used to going to, a lot of times you go meet somebody at the club. Well, that's not always the way to go meet somebody. You might, go to the library, I guess, or sometimes you can go out and have your mind open while you're out shopping or hanging out with your friends and stuff like that. But in everything that you do, whether it's work, whether it's in relationships, whether it's in training, my son is training. And so he needs to gain some weight because he's on the smaller side. And so everybody's telling him, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to eat this and all of these things. And so I found, and I was buying all the stuff for him, but I found that it was more of a hassle trying to get him to explore these different things that everybody said that he needed, instead of meeting him where he was at. Okay, you like these things. Okay, let's try this and see if you like it, because we know that you need this amount of calories, this amount of carbs, this amount of protein to help build while you're training. So we had to cut out what other people said that he needed to do and find out what he could do to get him the same results that they were trying to get him at. And so I tell you that as well, is to look at some of the things that you are going through in your life. Look at some things that happened in the past and you might have said, I tried that and that really wasn't for me. Well, you might not have had a hard line a hard line that says, I'm not going past this line, or somebody convinced you to do something that you know that you really did not want to do, or that you couldn't do, and you just went along with it because you didn't have a standard for yourself. You didn't have the goals and the visions for yourself. So what do you need? You need to know your goals. Know where do you see yourself in 6 months, a year, 5 years from now. Have your mentors around you that can help guide you, give you guidance, give you ideas and suggestions, but that aren't outside of who you are. And then know your hard line as to how far you are willing to go, because a rubber band can stretch. A rubber band is, circle or whatever, but if you stretch it, it can move. So you have to be willing to stretch like the rubber band. But if you stretch it too far, the rubber band pops, and you don't want to get to the point where you pop and you no longer are the rubber band. Now you're just a string, I guess, a stringy rubber band. You're no longer circle. So look at those things in your life, in your past, in your present. How can you know your limits, but not limit yourself on how far you can go? And with that being said, that is it. All I have for you today on Thriving Thursdays.